Thank you very much, Emerentia. That was very interesting, and wow, we have good laws, don't we?
We
I
do.
really am so proud of us for having the laws. But the challenge, as you say, is in terms of enforcement and
Yes,
awareness as well. And I'm sure that children who get bullied in some way um, on social media don't know about these laws and don't know that
yes,
actually the law is being broken and they can take
yes,
action in some way. They
yes.
must speak to a parent or a teacher. Um,
Mm,
it would
very
be good if
important.
they know about it. Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
very important.
So let's take questions and comments.
Mhm.
Please put up your virtual hand if you want to ask a question or give a comment. Um, Here is Busi Alant saying, "Thank you for an insightful presentation, Ms Morape. Given the enforcement capacity constraints and jurisdictional challenges highlighted in your slide, how can victims of identity theft, especially in cases where financial loss is indirect or delayed, seek justice when local law enforcement dismisses the case due to narrow definitions of harm? What reforms or support mechanisms could help bridge the gap between cybersecurity law and real-world victim experiences, particularly in South Africa?"
That is a very big question. That
Yes.
is one of my biggest questions as well, because I did mention one of our biggest challenges in South Africa is that there's a lack of training in terms of the police and judiciary when it comes to cyber crimes. And you're correct to say there's a narrow definition of harm, but I believe I do not have all of the answers, and the state should be accountable for parts that they're responsible for. And that is in terms of my recommendation that there should be training given to the police. There should be infrastructures that are available to be able to give the police the, I would say, knowledge on what exactly does harm mean. What exactly is a cybercrime? To maybe study the cybercrimes act in the different acts that can affect people. So that if someone comes and say, look, I need help. There was identity theft. Someone imposed themselves as me and therefore had access to all of my details. And I see this, believe me, in a lot of fraud, data privacy related cases that I'm currently dealing with because it's so easy nowadays with AI to just send phishing is how it starts most of the time. Send a link, and once you press it because you're not aware, like you may be digitally illiterate, now they have availability to information, and I can call insurance companies or banks and tell, and because of their verification processes, they are aware what they are, such as what is your ID number, your date of birth, and so forth. They can provide that information. And that is where immediately now they have access. They can say, oh, by the way, my email address changed. Give them their email address, and now they send all of my information to that person. So I believe this is a part where the state needs to be accountable to provide this training. And there is no other way except training the current people that are in charge of investigating cases. Maybe have a specialized unit that even deals with cyber crimes, specific cyber crimes, have forensics people involved, data privacy specialists, and maybe attorneys and so forth to be able to have a sort of a forum to be able to deal when it comes to such crimes. Because South Africa has very good laws in protecting people's rights in the cyberspace. The enforcement is the issue. I
Hmm.
believe that answers your question, but I don't know all of the answers. I hope that helps you. Busi?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Um, Dana van der Merwe says, "How do you see AI interacting with the law in this regard?"
Uh, AI is a part of law already. The problem is the ethical use of AI, right? So,
Hmm.
one of the papers I'm busy working on is how can lawyers use AI ethically, right? Because now have universities have even seen that probably in the law faculty where when you write research, referencing is very important, but now AI can write a whole paper for you. And
Yeah.
AI has Its advantages and the disadvantages. And one of the very big disadvantages is AI hallucinates. It can just give information for the sake of pleasing you, right? And this is where a lot of things happen. But AI can be integrated in the law in terms of helping us build our policies because AI is very fast. I can ask it now, help me to draft a proposal on AI policy. It can do that in 2 minutes, whereas it would take mostly a person 2 years minimum, right? As in terms of our state. This is how we can use the AI to be able to help with that in terms of building policies and helping with building laws. But because of a human-centric approach is very necessary, you need to have humans who review the information that is provided there. You need to have specialists who know the cyber laws in South Africa, and does it align to the cyber laws? Does it agree to the foundations of dignity and so forth in terms of the Constitution? And this way, even though you use AI in terms of the law, you use it ethically, and this way it can be integrated. And this is for researchers, this is for academia, and and especially for the government. And I know that one of our speakers yesterday who works for the communication and digital technology department says they're trying to um, have an infrastructure of Ubuntu AI. If they could create that in a way that can help us build policies faster and review them faster and help them build into our sector, it will definitely help with the ethical use of AI and the law. I hope that answers your question, Dana.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Emerentia.
You.
Lucy says, thank you. Gordon Branston says, thank you, Emerentia, for your valuable insight on the South African AI perspective. In your view, is the African Union's continental AI strategy a sufficient stage for a unified approach to AI governance across the continent to protect a vision of a borderless digital landscape? And where, in your view, should the most resources be targeted? Thank you.
The answer is yes, yes, yes. Um, Last year I was presenting at the International Children Rights Conference, and this was one of the main legislation. I believe right now with the main focus in terms of the African Union's AI strategy is to help mostly children. As you've mentioned, that they are not aware of their rights and how they can protect their data online. But I really do believe this is one of the main things that the continent can use for a governance across the continent to protect borderless digital landscape, especially because the African continent has similar values. Unlike if we adopt a European law into the African continent, because they're very different. They have different values, different backgrounds, and so forth. The African Union's one, I believe, will be in the near future. I believe they have a vision for 2040, where this will be implemented in terms of helping the borderless digital landscape and protecting people's rights in the digital space. And my view on where most resources can be targeted, we'll see when the African Union implements this, then we can have comments on that.
Okay. Oh, so it's not been implemented yet.
No,
Okay.
but there is a policy in the meantime. They just have
Yes.
a 2040 vision in the meantime. It's 2040 or 2050, one of the two. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is it online? Is it available in the
It's
public domain?
available online. You can just search for the African Union, and they have all of the different policies available there that you could have a look at when you have time.
Okay, fantastic. Great.
Yes.
Um, any questions? If anyone wants to speak, please put up a virtual hand. The raise hand button is at the bottom of your screen, and then we'll allow you to talk. Um, in the meantime, I wanted to ask you a question. Where was it?
Mm-hmm.
About the training of AI.
Mm-hmm.
AI you typically uses whatever is online. And
Right.
is there a way of protecting your own creations that are posted online to not be mined for AI?
Mm. That's a very tricky question because AI advances every single day. The
Yeah.
laws are there to help you protect. I mean, that is your intellectual property. We have the Intellectual Property Act that helps you deal with that. They have also adopted how AI can help protect your IP online.
Right.
However, because of the advance in terms of cybercrime and cyber criminals using AI, it's very difficult nowadays to protect your IP online. Therefore, the best practices would be just to ensure that you have limited information that you post online available for the public. For example, even if I use AI to help me to build a policy for my current job, to not put in information such as where I work, the name of the company, the business unit I'm in, my name, the stakeholders
Mm.
and so forth, to make it as vague as possible that it cannot be linked to anything. Because when there are unique identifiers, it becomes very easy for cyber criminals to mine your data and to use it for whatever purposes that they want to use it for. Like I said, technology advances extremely faster than the law. So by the time we probably have implemented a law to help you protect your IP online, AI would have advanced way further. So there has to, I believe we have to find a way with our state to be able to bridge the gap, whether it's implementing policies in the meantime. And our laws, obviously, when it comes to technology, have to be very vague because technology advances so quickly. We can have a definition for AI, and in the next 5 years, the definition of AI changed in technological language. And now the act can no longer protect you against AI because of the definition has changed, which is
Right.
a gray area in the law that you have to be very vague but you also have to protect. So
Right. Right.
it's very difficult to protect your IP online. But the best practice is make sure that you're always as vague as possible and to put limited information online, especially if you're not ready to share it, if it's not painted or it's not registered for intellectual property rights and so forth. Just don't put it online.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Um, you were talking about it should be in right-based digital literacy should be included in curricula at school, from primary to tertiary school, with public awareness. Can you tell us a bit more about that? What do you think should go into the curriculum?
Okay, so I think the difference here is that what I'm currently seeing, private schools have actually done this, or most private schools. The public schools are falling a little bit behind, right? Because there isn't those resources available from government. So what I've seen private schools implement, they even would have a speaker, let's say myself, at an assembly to talk in children language. What is data privacy? What is a cybercrime? What is your personal information? How you can protect yourself and so forth. And they have included in their compulsory subjects technology such as coding and robotics because these are one of the AI that practices that people are very skilled at. So when you know how to use something, you know how to protect yourself against it. Correct. So
Yeah,
people, younger children in primary school that are in private schools have more knowledge than even someone right now in tertiary that was never taught any of that. So this is the lack where government, I believe, has to add these things, whether awareness is very important. It does not have to be costly. It could be like having a speaker at the school to talk about these things, having posters available, and having these maybe talks with children, especially grade 10 to grade 12 was a very difficult phase because they're forever online. They would even
yeah,
have a day with me at school vlog in on TikTok or on Instagram. So just
yeah,
even quarterly or whatever, the principal may be talking to these children about these things. Protect yourself online. It does not have to be a costly thing, but
yeah,
that would require that the government should provide training to the educators on these policies, on these laws, and how they can use it to help children. And this has been a big challenge, and I heard this
yeah,
even at last year at the children's conference. children's rights are very, children are at the core of protection in terms of the Children's Act. But
Mm,
because they are young and they're vulnerable, it's so easy for them
mm,
to fall victim than an adult. So we need these awarenesses in especially public schools, those in disadvantaged
mm.
backgrounds that do not even have access to such information. They probably don't
Yeah,
even have data to go to the internet to search for these things, for example,
yeah,
and
no.
attend a forum like this so they can hear something. So we need to provide some sort of access to them in terms of posters, speakers, and whatever the case may be. Maybe even adding it as a compulsory subject, that would help.
Mm.
That would bridge a little bit of the gap in terms of digital illiteracy.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Yes,
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
The National Department has added coding and robotics into the curriculum, so
Mm-hmm.
at least it's there. But the difficulty is, of
Important.
course, the teachers need to know how to teach
Mm,
those. They need to be knowledgeable. And I think it's a similar situation with cybersecurity. That
right.
I don't think the teachers know about cybersecurity and about the digital rights. So
Yes.
maybe that's where one should start.
That's where they should start. And even currently, the ones that are in tertiary learning, studying to be teachers, it should be like a
Yeah.
module added to their curriculum so that they are just aware of these things for when they go into teaching. It's a skill they already have. And then
Yeah.
those that are currently already teachers that are not aware is where you can have the training. So it
Yes.
both ways would work.